Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and today we are ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes I used in the month of October. I've got 15 eyeshadow palettes I used this month. That's probably the most I've used in any month. Man, possibly this entire year. So if that sounds good to you, keep on watching. Before we get too far into the ranking, if you have not already, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I upload new videos twice a week. It's totally free to subscribe and I would love to have you back again on the channel again to talk all things makeup. And if you're already subscribed, give this video a like button. I know y'all love the eyeshadow palette content, so give it some love. And yeah, we're gonna start with number 15. Even number 15, the lowest this month, I didn't hate. It was just fine, right? So there's nothing that's bad this month. This is the ABH, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Primrose palette. Brought this one out when I was talking about my very mindful, very demure palettes this month. I'll leave that video linked if you haven't seen it. And here it is. It's just kind of like your basic, like, neutrals, but kind of with like a mauve-y and pinky options. This bronzer cannot be a bronzer on me, entirely Cheeto to orange, but the blush is really pretty. And these tones do look great for like day-to-day use. This formula I would say is better in my opinion than some of ABH's older palettes, like the Riviera, even the Alyssa Edwards collab, those kind of things, which by the way, spoiler alert, skip ahead like 10 seconds if you have not seen the RuPaul's Global All-Stars finale. But yay Alyssa for winning. I do personally feel like they kind of maybe pre-orchestrated that a little bit because I think Queen Kong had the most wins and the, Queen Kong's face was just like, what, are you kidding me? At the finale, I was laughing the whole time over it. But well-deserved, long time coming for Alyssa Edwards. Do love her so much. But when it came down to it, it was just too boring of a color and story, and that's why it didn't get rated any higher. So in number 14 from Too Faced is the Pumpkin Spice palette. I used this one this month in an open Throwback Thursday collab on Instagram. KAITLYNF House Makeup has been hosting that weekly, so if you're not following me on Instagram or any of my other socials, I've got them all down in the comments, not the comments, the description box. You can follow me there. But it was fun to bring this one out again. This one, same thing, the formula's not terrible. I think the shimmers and the ABH are better than this one, but the mattes are lovely. I actually did an all matte look, and that's why I put this one a little bit higher because it takes a lot for me to be inspired to do an all matte look, and this one did that. It inspired me to do that, and the shimmers aren't bad. The ABH ones are better, but the color story I like for this one better. That being said, it's still not a wonderful, amazing, best of all, best formula for me, so couldn't rate it any higher. And number 13 from Colourpop is the All Amethyst palette. I think I just was feeling purple. I don't know if there was anything more to it than that. Here it is. I love purple. Purple and green are probably my favorite two eyeshadows to wear. Hello, we're wearing purple and silver today. Love it so much. And again, Colourpop. Really cute theming, packaging, color stories, all of that stuff. The formula is just not like top tier, but this one at least, while it's like on par formula wise with those others, this is much more affordable. So I like it because you're getting the same quality as an ABH or a Too Faced, especially the Too Faced in my opinion, but not for that price point. But it is a monochromatic. Your options are limited there, so I didn't rate it any higher. And number 13 is another palette I used in KAITLYNF House Makeup's Throwback Thursday series, and it's the Melt Cosmetics Halloween Town palette. This is my first time using this. I love everything about the package whatsoever, and I only used it once, but it's my same gripe I always have with Melt, the shimmers. Baby, it's the shimmers. They just suck. I'm not gonna lie, they suck. Now, I say they suck, but they're really just fine. They're not terrible. It's not like they're unusable. When I say they suck though, I mean for an indie brand. With what indie brands are putting out these days, this just does not compete. It just does not. So of course I had to get it for the Oogie Boogie, for the Nightmare Before Christmas packaging and theming and everything. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. And so the theming and the color story and stuff got it up to this point. But when it comes to the shimmers, they need to revamp. They need to redo it. They need to scrap that formula and do something else. It's just not good. I believe that puts us up to number 11. This is the eyeshadow palette I'm wearing today. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics Dead of Night palette. And I wore this and some other things for a video. I'll leave it linked if you haven't seen it. Because they are running, or they were running. Will the sale be over by now? That's the question. Let me look at my calendar. They will have run or will be running a sale. Let's see. Ooh, okay, so this should be the 31st to the 1st. I think it's just a quick one-day turnaround Halloween sale, 40% off their site. And this is one of the palettes that will be 40% off. This one, the mattes are wonderful. The shimmers are really good. It's just not ranked higher because I think everything, we're getting to the point where it's like special shades, right? Shifty shades. There is one duochrome in this one, which we didn't have in any of the other palettes. But I'm a sucker for special shades. So I think that was really the reason I didn't rank it any higher. There's just one duochrome and the rest. The shimmers are really pretty. Like the silver's really pretty. There's nothing shifty or multi-dimensional about it per se. It's just a really nice opaque shimmer. And number 10 from Wicked Widow Beauty is the Graveyard Smash palette. Wanted to bring this one out as I was talking about fall and Halloween palette recommendations. I'll leave that video linked as well. And I just did a cute little yellow, green, fall, autumnal moment with this one. I think the color story feels a little limiting to me. Like, again, I used the green and the yellow and then this kind of like white shimmer the day I used it. But some of these I find hard to put together. So it's going to be like more of a 1, 2, 3 tops kind of a shade look for me with this one. And the shimmers are different formulas. This Monster Mash formula, I don't love this just like smooth, flat shimmer formula personally. I like something a little more textured like Friday Night. You see like the texture on that one versus this has no texture. It's very smooth. It's just a preference thing. It's nothing wrong with it. It's literally just me and my personal preference, and that's sometimes how these rankings go. So glad I have this one. Love the packaging, love the brand. Just couldn't rank it any higher because not every shade was perfect for me. And number 9, another from Unearthly Cosmetics, is the Dreamer palette. I think this one was for an Instagram look as well, very early in the month. But this certainly has special shades as opposed to the Dead of Night. This has a hollow chrome in it, so definitely getting more special. I think the only thing for me with this one is I wish there was maybe, I don't know, maybe one more lighter shimmer, because like float is okay, but even on my skin tone that looks like a little too warm or deep of a gold. I wish there was one lighter shimmer. Now, of course, I can pull from something else. It's not a big deal, but I'm ranking these palettes as like standalone palettes, right? So very sparkly, very nice mattes. This is definitely getting closer to those S tier palettes, and this is absolutely in a whole nother ball field if you're just looking at Unearthly in itself. Like, the Dead of Night doesn't even compare to this, but that's also why you would see that this costs significantly more on their website than the Dead of Night because of those special shades. So this is really, really nice. And I do love a purple shadow. Sometimes I'll go for a cool tone gray, kind of a smoky look, but not always. So some of it came to like these also, while they're glitzy, like other than the hollow chrome, nothing else is like shifty really, at least not like obviously. There's so many brands right now too that I feel like are saying they have duochromes and multichromes in their palette, and when you swatch it, it's just like the most subtle barely flip that you barely can see, and you certainly can't see it once it's on the eye, that it's like, okay, I might as well not even have one. Like, why are you advertising it this when you can't even see the flip in the color? You know what I mean? Do you guys feel that way, frustrated? Not with this palette, but with some where they advertise it that way. So yeah, everything else just beat this one out for color story or special shimmers. And number 8 is an oldie, and it made it up here. This is the Mercury Retrograde palette from Huda Beauty. And my goodness, can I get this open? This one's just stood the test of time for me. It really has. Now, I know I just went on a big tangent about there not being that many like shifty or special shades, but This one, it just does have like these really nice like gold glitch right here. This texture of shimmer, if it's not going to be shifty, that's the texture I want. Supermoon as well. Hopefully you can see it has that textured shimmer. I really love how those look on the lid. I think they're very dimensional, and I love that you can go kind of like berry tone, peachy on this side, pinky, but you also have all these blues in here. I say all of them, there's like 2 blues in here, but there's a lot of versatility, I feel like, with this palette that I don't have with necessarily some of the other ones. And the fact that it's so old and I'm enjoying it this much just tells me like I gotta rank it a little bit higher. And I think everything from here on out is like just indie goodness that even this one couldn't beat. And number 7 from Salem Cosmetics is the In My Dreams palette. This was in collaboration with Sassy Fairy, and I just love the vibes of the packaging first of all, and this is deceptively versatile. Like, you look at it and you think like, what am I gonna do with that? But I've used just the middle to do blues. I've used it this way to get more of like a purple leaning vibe. Sweet Dreams, it changes depending what you layer it over. It can look more pink if you layer it over like Sugar Plum, but I've also layered it over like In the Clouds, and it looks more blue. So that to me is a very obvious transparently, like a duochrome that is transformative. That's the difference. If it's gonna be a duochrome, like let it have a purpose and do something, right? And that one's transformative, and then this one's Stardust. It just looks white, but it is the most like pretty iridescent, glowing kind of a purple, like bioluminescent looking, honestly. That one makes it for me. And a red matte that's pigmented, that doesn't zebra stripe on me, that looks good. Love that. My school where I work, the colors are red and white, so I've worn sometimes on like Spirit Day Fridays for games this red in the outer corner and then put like gold or brown or something else with it, and that one's gotten a lot of use. So this is only a 9 pan, and I really think that's the only reason I didn't rank it higher. It's just because it's only a 9 pan. There's no multi-chromes, there's no holochromes. Like, those really do truly have my heart, but this is a good one. And number 6, also from Salem Cosmetics, the Grunge Life palette. All of the good things I have to say about the formula, I also have to say about this one as far as, you know, duochromes and being transformative. This one too is so unique. It's like a tealy blue to like a reddy pink. Hopefully you can see as I'm shifting it here, which again, with all of these mattes, there's just so many combinations you can do, and it pairs so differently. And much like I was talking about the red matte being great, this is a red shimmer that's fantastic. I feel like you just don't see a good red shimmer that often, and that one is great. This one, the black, also hella pigmented, like crazy pigmented. So yeah, and the undertones are just really cool, like this Nevermind. Such cool grungy undertones. I feel like it's giving the undertones that people used to rave about Melt for, but with the elevated formula that I want Melt to have, honestly. This is a wonderful one. Man, why did this not get ranked higher? I guess just because it only has 4 shimmers. I do feel like there's a matte to shimmer ratio that maybe isn't for me, but this is still a really good one. All right, guys, we are moving on to the top 5, and it was tough this month. Number 5 was my first experience with Shall We makeup. I'll leave the video linked. This is the Somber Garden palette. This is their collaboration with Freya, and here is the palette. I really like the formula. I love that they offer smaller pan sizes. Like, you can buy the palette with bigger pan sizes, but I bought the small one because I want to try stuff, but it takes forever, come on, to use up an eyeshadow. I don't need that big of pan sizes. And then you can get a smaller price point, which I love. We've got the texture on the shimmer that I love. Again, I think I mentioned this with one other palette. The thing that is my only con about this is there isn't at least one lighter shimmer. This one looks, both of these look like they could shift and be a little lighter. They're not. I've used them on my inner corner. They're very dark. So again, you certainly can pull from something else. It's not the end of the world, but rating it as a standalone palette, that's like my one thing, is I wish there were one lighter shimmer, but this is This is very good. And I did order another palette from this brand at the same time that I haven't tried yet. I think it's called Witch's Mist or something like that. So yeah, stay tuned for that one soon as well, because this brand has my attention. Number 4 is a palette I've just been reaching for a lot. This is the Blend Bunny, the Dollhouse palette. Yes, she's a neutral Nelly, but there's so many pops that you can go so many ways with this one. I really like the shimmers. Here it is. This is just like my daily, like day-to-day palette, and I get so much use out of it. No, it doesn't have anything really that shifty or magical, but it is a good one. Like, you could use this every day for probably years and get everything you need this one palette only. So I want to give it credit for that. Love this brand and the formula so much, but just because it doesn't have anything special about it, I didn't rate it higher, but this is a staple, I feel like, for your everyday palette if you don't have an everyday palette already. And number 3 is an oldie but a goodie. I could not rank it any lower. I thought about it and I just couldn't. From Lunar Beauty, the original Moonspell palette. This just cannot be topped. Volume 2, can't touch this one. I know you tried, Manny, but this is just the one. It's the one for me, and it still holds up. I used this again this month, and even like Prue is the special shade in this one. It still holds up. I still love it. Some of the shades, like I think it was Piper, are a little satin feeling compared to what I would like now, so I can definitely tell this came out at a different time period, but it's blue and greens, you guys. But it's purples and greens, you guys. How could I not rank it close to the top? The theming, how could I not? The shimmers still being impactful and special, how could I not? Like, if you ever see this on Mercari or something, you can't buy it directly from the site. It's discontinued, but if you don't have it and you see it used somewhere, like, cannot possibly recommend it enough. But it still is before Lunar Beauty dipped their toes into the multi-chrome, so there are a couple palettes that are just jaw-dropping above this one. Okay, the last 2 palettes. Are you ready? The next one is new to my collection, but I'm head over heels. This is from Electrum Cosmetics, and it is the Midnight Moth. I'll leave my video linking. I used this when I was in a bad mood recently, and this just turned my whole day around. It's impeccable. Hopefully you can see the texture on the shimmers. The shimmers from Electrum Cosmetics are otherworldly. I don't know how else to explain them. They are just something special that I don't think is really comparable to anything else. They're so spectacular. I can't say enough things. And the mattes are lovely too. But this one just, I'm like, okay, if it has the power to change the mood of the rest of my day, that's power. That's power. Love this color story. Again, we have some greens and some kind of like purplies as well. But it's also kind of can go grungy. This one has at least one kind of lighter matte in it, and it does have shimmers light enough to go in the crease. So this one is like just about the whole package. It was hard. This one was almost number 1. Like, ask me on a different day and it might be, but it was really close this month. Number 1 just has some unparalleled things in it. Let's just say that. So I know if that was number 2, what's number 1? And this one is kind of pricey for how small it is. A small palette at number 1. But it's truly a gem that transforms everything in my collection. This is the Dewdrops palette from Divaroon Cosmetics, and it is an all shimmer palette, 6 shades. They're all incredible, particularly Drop. It looks blue. It is even more bioluminescent of a purple. I love those shades that are, I think they're technically called iridescence, but there are some brands coming out with some shades that truly, I'm telling you, bioluminescent is a better term for them than iridescent with how they look. They literally glow when you wear them. It's incredible. Splash, I've seen a couple brands now doing this like mixed iridescent pan, and it looks just great, both in pan and on face. And yeah, I mean, again, this just transforms anything. You could give me the crappiest number 15 palette, which was the ABH, you know, it wasn't that crappy. And you could put plop over some of those basic shades and you would think I'm wearing something that was $100 because of one special indie shade brand. Like this, unparalleled. Just truly unparalleled. This is amazing. So those are all the palettes I used in the month of October. I hope you enjoyed the ranking. Let me know down below what's your favorite. Do you own anything that I just talked about? What's your favorite palette that you used this past month? I would love to know. And thanks so much if you made it to the end of the video. I hope to see you again on the next time. Bye!